Hello. This is the second episode of our music discussions, and this time we'll be going into the works of the ingenious electronic producer Aphex Twin. Yes. So, why don't you introduce Aphex Twin?
He's some guy that sits in his basement all day and has tons of instruments and makes electronic music for himself.
That's very true, actually. And he owns a tank, and he has a Russian wife, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
He also is a 9/11 conspiracy theorist.
No, I think he also he has a child or something.
I think he has a few children, and they also make music.
Yeah.
He has robots that make music for him.
Oh yeah, he also made an album using that.
And yeah, he did, which I don't have, sadly. Well, an EP.
Yeah.
In general, he's a pretty interesting person, and all of this might be false. That's what's cool about him. You don't really know much about him because he keeps very much to himself. It is true, though, however, that he does make music for himself. He enjoys listening to his own music. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and also he doesn't have he has little to no outside influence.
That's
for
right.
Music.
His music is entirely original because he doesn't listen to music other than his music.
So he's practically Japan.
Okay, so we're going to dive into his studio releases. Not all of them, sadly. I don't have Druqs on vinyl because it is very, very rare and expensive. But I would like to get it because it is one of my favorite albums he's released.
Yeah.
But we'll be talking about the rest of his studio albums. And in place of Druqs, I've inserted something I have on vinyl, which is the Come to Daddy EP.
Yeah.
Which basically is an album.
Yeah, I recognize it as an album.
Yeah. So right now we'll start with the album, his first album, which is the one we have playing on the play right now, which is Selected Ambient Works 85 to 92.
Or it is called Saw One.
Or Saw One, which is released in 1992, I think, or maybe 1993. One of the two.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's this time. It's from this time, 85 to 92. So.
Yeah, basically. And I'm pretty sure, well, obviously, all the songs were made throughout that 7-year period.
Yeah.
Despite that, though, it really holds together as one cohesive album, which is probably why he selected those ones in particular.
Yeah. Because he obviously makes lots of music.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that later on. I have a great example for one of the later albums. So yeah, this is an album that, as far as I know, it wasn't like super popular when it was released, but during like the late 90s when he was really popular with like the Window Licker and Come to Daddy stuff, people went back and this one got a lot of popularity.
Yeah.
For good reason. It is a very amazing album. So what do you think of this album, like as an overall summary?
With this artist, I don't think that any of his stuff can be ranked my second favorite. I think that it's this might be no, actually it's not biased at all. I think that Syro is like his newest album, right? Newest one?
Yep.
Yeah. His newest album, Syro, is better than all the others by a bit, but then all the others are practically equal.
Okay. So you think this one's equal with the ones that released up to Syro?
Yeah.
Okay. I almost agree. I think that he definitely has very equal output. Like a lot of his albums are very close in quality. I think this one has a little bit more to it though because of the atmospheres and moods. Something we were talking about a bit in the Radiohead album reviews is that they each have very concise and coherent kind of themes and feels and kind of atmospheres and textures.
Yeah.
This one I think has the best one out of Aphex Twins. In a similar way to Radiohead, I think this one really
I'd say Saw
is
2
better because of its atmosphere.
I'd say Saw 2 is a bit stronger in that way, but that doesn't make the album better though.
Yeah, you're actually right about Saw 2. We'll be getting to that next, but yeah, actually that's something that runs with both the Ambient albums, the Ambient 1 and 2, is that they have, I mean, that's what ambient music really is, right?
Yeah.
It's a focus on atmosphere and texture. This album does it very, very well, with pretty accessible tracks.
Saw 2 is quite
inaccessible.
quite inaccessible.
So we might as well get into that right now, actually. Why don't you bring up Saw 2? So, or Selected Ambient Works Volume 2 is the real title, but for simplicity we'll be considering it as Saw 2. And once he lifts up the album, we'll start to review it. There's the track listing right there. I'm not joking, that's the track listing.
Really?
He presented it in a very interesting way, where you can see instead of like titles, they're literally just like pie graphs, and yeah. So basically, each graph represents the length of each track, and I don't know which disc is which, but There are 6 discs, or 6 sides, I guess, 3 discs on this vinyl. Very long album. It's 2.5 hours, I'm pretty sure, right?
Something like that.
And it's around 23 to 25 tracks, depending on the version.
But then again, it only is like a normal album length because it is 2 discs. So each disc is an album length.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that's actually true.
I do think that disc 2 is better though.
I can't even say really. I think I have favorite tracks on all of them. I definitely don't listen to this album very much as a full listen, even though you're supposed to.
Yeah, I only ever listen to it as full.
It's just that like, it's such a commitment to listen to the entire thing. Amazing album for sure, and it's worth it. But 2.5 hours is very long to listen to, especially ambient music like this. But
yeah.
So, what's the main difference between this one and Saw 1?
The speed, tempo.
Yep, I'd say also percussion. There's very little percussion on this album.
But I'd say that this is kind of like a slowed down version of Saw 1, except for they take away all the percussion and they just leave the ambience of the percussion.
Almost the ambience makes the rhythm actually in a lot of these tracks, just with how the tracks kind of like repeat a lot.
Yeah,
it kind of creates that rhythm anyway, just in the sounds. And some do have beats, but very few. Yeah, and I almost think some of the best tracks don't have to be the beat-driven tracks. Some of the best tracks are the most ambient, I find. Like, I mean, none of them have names except for Blue Calcs. So, I mean...
Oh,
like,
and Stone of Focus.
No, that one also is untitled. Oh. Yeah, that's another given name. The rest of the tracks do have given names, just based on the images. I'll actually pull that out right now. So, it's in the vinyl. All these tracks here, which are tied to their pie chart, you know, like say this one, right? The highlighted pie chart image. It's very complex, but very cool. They each have like a little image that I presume that he took, Aphex Twin took himself, that kind of matches what he thought the mood of each track was. So a lot of them just end up being these kind of blurs, which is pretty awesome actually. But some of them are very well defined, like this one, Radiator.
Yeah. Tell us in the comments. Tell us in the comments which one of these is your favorite.
Like image?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think my favorite is most likely this one.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool. I'd say for me it's this one right here that goes with curtains. Very ominous and very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very cool. It's a really unique way of presenting an album's track list, because really I think naming them in this case it doesn't work as well as actually what he thought of. Giving it kind of that untitled aspect really makes the album way more eerie and kind of like cryptic.
Also makes it quite a bit less accessible.
Yeah, and this is definitely his most inaccessible album, I'd say. It's not as like crazy and what would you say, like complex and abrasive as like the later stuff, but it's a behemoth to kind of listen to.
Also, because it's inaccessible, it's not like the type of like this album you cannot listen to tons of times and finally understand and know all the songs.
No.
You cannot get over this album. It's just an album that you listen to and you can sometimes recognize, oh yeah, I remember this part in last time I listened to it, but you cannot know the album.
Basically all that you can really know of the album is the kind of general mood of each track.
Yeah.
Like some of the tracks are actually very, very like beautiful and light. Like well, I'll just name them based on the fan given names. Like Lichen, if you know which track that is. It's one of the last few, and it's like has a lot of these like higher synths.
Oh, is that disc 2 track 9?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's like a 4-minute track.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. Another one would be track 3, like from disc 1. That's kind of like a slower, very drawn out and very velvety kind of track.
Yeah, I like the song that has the pipes. Not pipes, more like flutes.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. That's right, yeah. And that has a little bit of rolling percussion in it too, right? Yeah. Those are really cool. Like, there's some really happy tracks on this album actually.
There are also some
nightmarish ones. Yeah. Especially one that's not on the vinyl, but is on the CD version which we listened to, which is the track 4.
Yeah.
Creepy track. These like high pitched, very stretching long synths. Sounds like a horror movie soundtrack. Yeah. And then the track that follows it, which is called Grass. That's kind of like it's like a 9-minute one with slow percussion and the eerie synths. Really cool stuff.
There's an Animal Collector song called Grass.
Yeah, there is.
I bet it's quite similar.
I wouldn't know. I'm sorry. I'm not as familiar with that band as you are, but I have vowed to him that I will become well acquainted with Animal Collective to the point where we can actually do a discussion on the band's discography as well. Yeah, because I'm a casual. Okay, we should discuss the next album. Hey? So that one would be "I Care Because You Do."
Really? I thought Richard D. James is before that.
No. Oh, "I Care Because You Do" follows Sawtooth. So this is the first album where he used his wonderful mugshot as the album cover.
Mugshot.
Yeah, mugshot. That's what you call this kind of thing. Yeah. So basically, what can you tell us about "I Care Because You Do"?
It has a pretty dark, very orange feel.
Yep.
And it flows, not flows, but it has a very definite feel.
Yeah, which is kind of that. I don't really know how to define it, but it has to do a lot with the orchestral elements and the kind of like gross elements.
Yeah, it's kind of like a very mechanical. It's like you're in a factory.
A rusty factory.
A rusty factory. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of grating noises on this album. It's not like super abrasive. This album.
Some songs
are like Ventolin.
And the other one.
Start as you need to
yeah.
go on. Yeah, but it is still pretty ambient actually. A lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it feels like kind of a mix of Saw 1 and 2, but like with rust.
Yeah.
Like Saw 1 is very like everything is kind of smooth, I guess, and well produced.
Yeah.
This album seems a little more almost disjointed and kind of like I don't know, scratchy. If that makes any sense. Yeah. Favorite tracks in this one?
No.
Because this is kind of one that you can actually point out individual tracks on,
Really?
like Saw 2, and even Saw 1. There are some definite favorites I have, like Extile and The and Helios Fan.
I'd say Ptolemy is my favorite.
Ptolemy.
For that one, but for this, I wouldn't say there are any for me, at least.
No favorite tracks? Not even Alberto Balsam?
I'd actually have to listen. Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Also,
the first tracks are
Wet
nice.
Tip Head Axe. That's a good one.
Oh, it's something. Okay, I was going to bring this up. On this album, a lot. That looks really great. No, wait, you'll see. Well, you'll see it if you watch the video.
Yeah.
Instead.
Okay. Oh, Moo Kid. That's my favorite one.
Oh yeah, Moo Kid.
A Moo Kid is actually. I searched up the definition, and it's a lazy fat person who sits and grazes all day.
That's right. I was going to go into the track names because it's funny because he came off of Saw 2, which is completely untitled, just has those images to represent the track names. This one, the tracks are actually really funny because most of them are anagrams of like his name or his like artist names. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they're just something completely random, like Alberto Balsam, which is a shampoo. Well, it would be, but he added an extra letter in there, so it's not. Maybe to avoid copyright or something like that. But and you can hear in that song a little electronic voice saying "bubbly, bubbly, bubbly." So the song is about shampoo.
Yeah. Oh, Cowcut has a twin is a good one.
Yeah, and that's
Next Heap With.
Cowcut is a twin is an anagram of Caustic Window, which is one of his other pseudonyms. Next Heap With is, I'm pretty sure, an anagram of Aphex Twin. Yeah, and Acrid Avid Jam Shred is an anagram of Richard David James. Is his full name.
That's a pretty abrasive one.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it has abrasive percussion, but it has very nice and ambient and calm melody and stuff. But anyway, yeah, this has a lot of mid-tempo tracks, pretty abrasive, but also kind of ambient. So, yeah, a little unique. Going on to the next one, want to bring that up? Nope, that's not it.
Here we go. No.
Okay, so the next album we're going to be discussing is Richard D. James' album. So that is
oh my gosh,
1995. Yeah, I know. So this is a very short album. This is like 30 minutes, and it kind of builds off of "I Care Because You Do" sound. Pretty abrasive, pretty experimental.
No.
Yeah,
way less abrasive.
Way less abrasive.
Way less abrasive. It's way more chill. In this album, there's a lot of really fast percussion, especially 4. But there's a lot of really fast percussion.
And a girl boy song.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of fast percussion.
This has a lot of his best songs. This album has a lot of his best songs.
I also think it has a very concise album flow, where you can just listen to it easily from start to finish. Mostly because of how short it is.
How many tracks? Like 8?
10.
10.
Or with the extended edition, like 15. But those are clearly B-sides.
Yeah.
Although Milkman's pretty good, but
This is really confusing to look at.
yeah.
Oh, it is 10. Yeah.
But the vinyl here has 10 tracks. It's about a 30-minute album, and yeah, some of it is best for sure. I think I mentioned Cornish Acid 4 and Girl Boy Song is the best.
I'd mention
Logan Rock Witch
Logan?
or
Loggle. Loggle.
Yeah.
I'd say Loggle. Wait. Oh yeah. Loggle Rock Witch, Girl Boy Song, and To Cure a Weakling Child are my favorites.
Oh yeah. Okay. And I think we all just named off all the album's tracks except for
and Finger Pip.
except for Peak, whatever it is, which is an interesting
Peak.
track.
Yeah.
It's pretty abrasive though. I'd say it's more abrasive than a lot of the stuff on-
It's really weird just being a third track. It's like the opposite of what most third tracks.
Yeah, I know. Something we've noticed in album structures usually with bands is that third tracks are usually pretty mellow.
I think we might make a video about albums and
That's a good
basic
idea.
albums,
Yeah, how albums are usually often structured. We might make a video on that.
not just structured though, how they usually sound and how they usually how their themes are approached, those type of things.
In general albums?
Yeah, general albums.
Interesting. So next off we have an EP, which came after the Richard D. James album, and that's the Come to Daddy EP, 1997.
This is probably, I'd say it might be a bit better than the others, just a bit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It definitely has some of his most forward-thinking material on here.
Yeah.
Stuff like Bucephalus Bouncing Ball, which is just a mind-blowing track.
Yeah.
And the Flim as well. Flim is really great.
Wait, it might be Bucephalus. I think it's Bucephalus Bouncing, and then Ball Period is another song.
Yeah, that's track 5 on here.
Yeah.
It's a hidden track.
Oh, and then there's Poppy Mix. That's a good one.
Yeah. You're being very misleading. Some of the audience members don't know this EP, and you're confusing them. Okay. Anyway, so this vinyl only has 4 tracks, but we're reviewing this as if it's the actual EP, which has 8 tracks.
Yeah.
So the other tracks listed on here, well, this one has the first 4, right? Come to Daddy, Pappy Mix, Flim, Come to Daddy, Little Lord, Folteroy Mix, which is a hilarious track,
yeah.
and Bucephalus Bouncing
And it
Ball.
doesn't have the best song, which is Us.
Yeah, that's right. Is Us is amazing, and that's the 8th track.
Wait. I think we just need to take a moment to recognize the beauty of this album cover. Just amazing. I wish my face was on there, but then again, that wouldn't make any sense.
Okay, so yeah, something interesting about this album for sure is how it starts off with this really abrasive and heavy track, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, it kind of goes into pretty light material, but very creepy material.
Yeah.
Like the voices on the Little Lord Folteroy mix are, like, I remember like laughing out loud when I first heard that. Yeah, and then also stuff like the little samples he uses, like in Is Us, they're like, stop making that big face, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of like funny things you threw in there,
Or the thing about his mom.
yeah, his mom saying, like, you got so many machines, Richard, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of cool stuff. And that's stuff that he did later on Druqs as well. You haven't listened to that on that much, but
Yeah.
but he does that quite a bit on Druqs too. Like little, like electronic voices, or even his parents saying stuff. So, okay, and now you want to bring up the last album here that we're talking about?
What?
Right here? Which is the one which you brought up earlier? Syro. So Syro is from 2014. Released after a long hiatus from Druqs 2001 to this album 2014. So hiatus as Aphex Twin. He didn't release other stuff under the name of, I believe it was just Aphex, like AFX.
Yeah. He's also released
the
a
Tuss.
Polygon Window.
Oh, that's really old though.
It's really old.
Yeah, that's like Select Dynamic Works 1 and 2 era.
I think Polygon Window is just as good as this album.
Yeah. That's the album. He's talking about the
on
album.
Sine Waves.
Yeah, Surfing on Sine Waves. Good release as well. Don't have it on vinyl because I don't think it even is available on vinyl.
Yeah.
But cool track. Yeah, cool album as well. But Syro. So what makes Syro in your mind the best album he's released?
It's quite a bit different than all the other albums. The other albums are experimental, weird. This album is just a very normal album, and it's very groovy, and there are a lot of things that you can just throw it on at any time and really enjoy it, and that's what I find
High
best
up
in
in
albums.
accessibility.
Yeah.
Factor?
That too, but no, I'm talking about just like
Re-listenability.
yeah, exactly. You can just also some songs grow on you, And although it's all pretty accessible, it still has room to grow, which is kind of odd.
Namely, I'd say a song that really grows on you is track 4.
Yeah.
That one I kind of overlooked.
Is that 180 dB?
No, that's track 5. Track 4 is oh geez, where even is the track listing? Because all of them have very interesting
Product
names.
29?
No, 4-bit 9.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 9D AP plus E plus 6.
Yeah, we got it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. I think both of us would probably agree that the best tracks on the album are the track
no.
2.
No. No best tracks.
No best tracks. Okay, well, I'm going to say track 2, which is the Christmas Eve track, and S950 TX16 WASR10 Earth Portal Mix.
Yeah.
That's the second
Earth
last track.
Call it
Earth Portal Mix. Really cool track. It's kind of a faster one.
I always like Papa, though.
It actually
That's a good
shows... Yeah. Papa T4 Pineal Mix. That's a cool track, too. But it shows all the BPMs on the vinyl here. And most of them are actually pretty mid-tempo, like 120, around 120.
Yeah.
But that one that I mentioned, the Earth Portal Mix, has like a 164 BPM. And you can tell, like, that one is quite a bit faster. Something more on something from Druqs.
Yeah.
And I like those kind of tracks the best in his newer releases, I find.
Yeah.
Because the ones with a lot of energy and a lot of just complexity thrown at you are the ones I like the best. But he's very good at still making mid-tempo kind of chill tracks, too. And there's plenty of them on this album. Okay, so that's all the vinyl we have for Aphex Twin.
Yeah.
We have those 6 records.
He didn't. I wouldn't say that he changed throughout his creation. He didn't change.
No, he released different sounding material, but he as a composer remained the same. Let's say he always stuck to stuff that was new, exciting, pushing kind of the limits of almost kind of bridging the gap between music and just noise.
Yeah.
Right? And very well done.
Yeah. And all his albums are quite unconventional.
Yeah.
Maybe Saw One and Syro a bit less.
Yeah, and that's probably why they're the most popular.
Yeah.
Of his albums,
but he always makes them as unconventional as he can, and he also adds his voice in it to make it even weirder.
Usually like auto-tune.
Yeah, that really adds to the music though, and that kind of is his staple.
It's the slight personal elements within the very impersonal music that make it really interesting sometimes.
Yeah. Also his percussion. That's one of his biggest staples.
He's good with rhythm.
Yeah.
Easily. He has some of the coolest rhythms I've heard in a lot of tracks. Like this one here, you can hear. This is Agus Paulus off of Saw 1.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff. So, yeah. I was going to mention though, I was talking about like amount of material he's released. I was going to mention for the Richard D. James album, there's 10 tracks, and apparently he pulled those 10 out of 200 tracks he had available for that.
Yeah.
And also, not to mention like his SoundCloud dump that he did last year, where he just released like I think it was over 200 tracks just on SoundCloud. Maybe some of them were the ones that he pulled the Richard D. James album tracks from. I haven't listened to nearly that many of those, but there were some gems that I heard for sure. And then
that whole collection is just like one dark cave where you can pull gems out of.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and there's so much to explore, and like a lot of it's pretty like I guess not like unpolished, but some pretty cool stuff though in there. And those are I think mostly stuff from the '90s that he released.
Yeah. Oh, and
a lot of EPs he's released too. A lot of stuff from different pseudonyms, like we talked about Polygon Window.
Oh yeah. I'll be right back. Vote in the comments if you want Jesus to be staring at you in the background. He can be right there.
Yeah, we took down the picture just because I don't know.
Jesus.
Yeah, but
that was really well put up.
Yeah, good job. It's a cool painting, but we thought it might be a bit unnerving.
Yeah.
So, although there's light staring right at it, so maybe that makes it easier to see. Yeah. But I guess let us know in the comments. Not a major thing, but also okay. So we're done with Aphex Twin. Sadly, we couldn't discuss Window Liquor or Druqs, which are 2 amazing releases. But if I get any more Aphex Twin on vinyl in the future, we will discuss them on this channel. So next time, what do you think we should discuss? We have a few more kind of full band kind of.
You didn't want to do Arcade Fire.
I want to hold on Arcade Fire because I haven't listened to them recently.
Oh,
but
okay.
we could talk about Sigaros or Godspeed You Black Emperor.
I think we should put those two in one video.
Yeah.
Just because we don't have very many for both.
Yeah, true. I almost want to wait on some of them until we have more vinyl, but we'll decide. But there's going to be a new video pretty soon where we discuss some more records. So I guess over and out. We haven't thought of a little thing to say yet at the end of our videos. We will think of one.
No, that's stupid. That's cliche. We'll just say bye.
Bye.